We have a program which has recently developed some food and agriculture business principles, which began at Rio Plus 20 in order to develop the idea of sustainable intensification from a business perspective. The Global Compact has about 8,000 companies within its signatory base. Of those companies, we have about 1,000 that are within food and agriculture across the entire value chain. So from the time of Rio Plus 20, we spent 2 years actually involving these 1,000 companies in crafting what have now become the 6 food and agriculture business principles. So what the business principles have done in these 250 words, by looking for things like food security, human rights and thriving communities and rural livelihoods, good governance and accountability, environmental responsibility, sharing value, transference of technology and skill sets. Essentially, that's the 6 principles in a nutshell. What we're finding is that these principles represent both a statement of intent as well as an articulation of the outcome that all of the actors aspire to. So if you put the 6 principles in front of a business or in front of a government or in front of an NGO, there is mutual acceptance that yes, this is what we want. The food and agriculture space has actually enjoyed very significant support from the private sector over the last couple of decades. So issues like the environment and climate change and so forth are now fairly squarely embedded in corporate responsibility and sustainability practices. So what we see moving forward is that these 2 roles of having to meet certain quality, safety, supply chain standards are now also being understood as being critical to thriving domestic communities. And if you look at many of the multinational companies, they will be the first to acknowledge that the degree of control and sphere of influence that they have down to those lowest tiers is optimistic at best. We need to help to begin to build the bridge from the other side. That means going into the field, being able to onboard the smaller farmers, the SMEs and so forth, and meet these companies halfway. So I don't think that food security rests on the shoulders of the 10 biggest companies in the world. I mean, that would be a very irresponsible position to take. Food security rests on the 1 billion farmers that are not yet recognized as being part of the system or the aspiration for food security. A smaller actor, or even the smallest actor, should be able to participate through, for example, a Facebook page or a LinkedIn page or whatever is going to be, that means that then registers themselves as being available for capacity building, for extension services, for access to market, for preference, for climate work, all sorts of things. The idea of having this big data in place, the idea of having 1 billion profiles, and then being able to track the claim of, let's say, from a Western consumer perspective, a multinational saying, I work with 20,000 smallholders, and then actually being able to find exactly who those 20,000 smallholders are, because they are all linked on a platform. That's perfectly possible today. Similarly, in the other way, if you look at it from the 20,000 farmers perspective, and now you want to create a mechanism for extension services or capacity building in country, a government that wants to deliver particular services or skill sets now also knows where those 20,000 farmers are, what they grow, what their issues are, what they need. So this means that this platform that we are expecting now to begin to develop and to design is essentially the type of technology that we now take for granted in social media and so forth, but applied to a very critical aspect, which is food security.